Today we're talking about boundaries and saying no. And I already know some of you are cringing right now because just the thought of saying no makes you anxious, feel guilty, even feel selfish. And I get it. I totally do. You feel you're letting people down, but what you need to understand is boundaries aren't mean. They're not selfish, but they truly are necessary. So today, self-check method questions are designed to help you understand why you struggle with boundaries, what you're afraid of, how to start protecting your peace without apologizing for it. Because you can't pour from an empty cup. And you can't keep saying yes to everything and everyone, but you're saying no to yourself. These questions are going to challenge you. They might make you uncomfortable, but the discomfort is where your freedom lies. So grab your journal, because I got my journal right here with my questions. Get comfortable. Tea, coffee, juice, soda, whatever your drink is. Let's check ourselves. Shall we start? Okay. Question number one. What are you saying yes to that you really want to say no to? And what's stopping you? Let's start right there, because this is where most of us are stuck. You know you don't want to do something. You know you don't want to have the time, energy, or the brain capacity. You know it's going to drain you, stress you out, and make you resentful, but you say yes anyway. Why is that? Maybe it's the extra project at work, um, that's not even part of your job description, but you don't want to feel seen like you're not a team player. Maybe it's hosting a family event when you're exhausted because that's just not what you want to do. Maybe spending money you don't have to give because you don't want to seem selfish. Maybe it's staying on the phone for 2 hours listening to the same friend complain about the same situation they refuse to change because you don't want them to think you don't care. The question is asking you to name what you're agreeing to that's costing you your peace. And that is asking you to be very honest with yourself. And what's stopping you from saying no? Can it be guilt? The fear of disappointing people? The fear of seen as difficult or mean? Fear that people won't like you anymore? Fear of conflict? Or how about being talked about? Because here's the thing. Whether you're afraid of its probability, okay, keeping you trapped in a cycle of people pleasing, overextending, sacrificing yourself to keep everyone else comfortable. And that's not sustainable. That's not healthy. Not living. That's surviving while making sure everyone else is okay at your expense. So what are you saying yes to that really is a no? And what will it take for you to finally honor that no? Okay. Question number two. Okay. When you set a boundary, why do you feel the need to over explain or justify it? Oh my gosh. This is a big one because many of us can't just say no and feel absolutely fine about that no. We ain't stand 10 tones down on that no. We have to write a whole dissertation about defending our decision. I can't because I have this thing, then I have this other thing, and actually I got this really big thing, you know. Um, but you're really tired. You haven't had the time for yourself. And now I should, and I know I should, but I just can't right now. And I'm sorry. And maybe next time, uh, just exhausting ourselves trying to make our boundaries sound reasonable enough that the other person won't get mad. But why? Why do we feel you need permission to have limits? Why do you feel like that your no is not valid unless you can prove you had a good enough reason? Why are we negotiating our own boundaries? The need to over-explain comes from not believing you have the right to say no just because you don't want to. It comes from the belief that your comfort, your peace, your time, your energy, that's not valid reasons to on your own. That you need to have something more important to justify protecting yourself. But here's what we need to understand. And I know you heard this 1,000 times before. No is a complete sentence. You don't even have to give an explanation. You don't have to defend your limits. You don't have to convince people that your boundaries is reasonable. If you don't want to do something, it doesn't work for you, if it's going to drain you, that's enough. That's reason. That's really a good reason enough. When you keep over-explaining, you're leaving the door open for people to agree with you, to convince you, to make you feel guilty until you cave. Does that make sense? Because I know that makes sense to me. You know, you overpaying her and then coming back at you. Oh, you hang out no more. Oh, if you do this project, you will look good to the boss. You're treating your body like it's a debate, and it's not. The question is asking you to examine why you don't believe you know it's enough at all. Because until you believe it, other people won't respect it. Just sit on that. Question number 3. Who in your life makes you feel guilty for having boundaries? And why are you still prioritizing their comfort over peace? Okay. Not everyone in your life is going to like your boundaries. Some people are going to push back. Some are going to make you feel selfish, mean, difficult. Some are going to guilt trip you, give you the silent treatment, make corny and slick remarks, or straight up tell you changed. And that's information. And that's information. Because the people who benefit from you not having boundaries are going to be the most upset when you start setting them. The people who used to be able to have availability to you 24/7 are going to have a problem when you stop answering every call. Who are you used to saying yes to every time someone's call you? Selfish? When you start saying no. Think about it. The people who are used to you shrinking yourself to make them comfortable are going to accuse you of acting brand new when you start taking up space. So this question is asking you to identify who these people are in your life. You can memorize them, write them down, go over your head over and over again, and ask yourself, who gets mad when you set a boundary? Who makes you feel bad about protecting your peace? Who acts like your limits are like very a personal attack to them? And here's a deeper question. Why are you still prioritizing their comfort over your own well-being? Is it because they're family and that's just how they are? Is it because you're afraid of losing the relationship? Is it because you don't want to deal with the drama? Is it because at one point someone maybe had given you money, took care of you, looked out for you? Is it because they're conditioned to make you feel responsible for their feelings? Because here's what we want to hear. Because here's what I know I need to hear, and I want you to hear it too. Anyone who makes you feel guilty for having boundaries doesn't actually respect you. They don't even like you. They respect what you do for them. They respect your availability and your flexibility and the willingness to sacrifice yourself. But they don't respect you. And if the only way to keep someone in your life is not have limits, then what are you really keeping? A relationship where you can't be whole, be yourself, be organic, where you have to pour until you're empty. That's not love. That's manipulation. and you deserve better. Question number 4. And let me get some, let's see. What would you, what would your life look like if you stopped feeling responsible for everyone else's feelings and reactions? This question, this is a question that's going to hit different because most of us have been conditioned to manage other people's emotions. We've been taught that if someone's upset, disappointed, hurt, angry, it's our job to fix it. Even if we didn't do anything wrong, even if we are just protecting ourselves, even if their feelings are unreasonable. So we shrink, apologize, cave, sacrifice our own peace to keep them comfortable. We say yes when we want to say no because we don't want them to be upset. It's the fear of the unknown. We don't know how they're going to react to us. We don't speak up about what bothers us because we don't want to hurt their feelings. We stay in situations that drain us because we don't want to disappoint anyone. And we carry that weight of everyone else's emotions, well being on our shoulders while our own mental health suffers. But think about this. What would happen if it stopped? What would your life look like if you allowed people to feel their feelings without making it your responsibility to manage them? What if someone was disappointed and you didn't rush to fix it? What if someone got mad and you didn't immediately apologize for having a limit? If you let people be uncomfortable with your boundaries, with your boundaries out sacrificing your peace to soothe them, you'll probably have more energy, even some time, more peace, and less resentment. Oh, a lot less stress and anxiety. You'll stop running yourself into the ground trying to be everything for everyone. You'll stop sacrificing your well being to keep other people happy. You actually have space to take care of yourself. How does that sound? This question is asking you to imagine freedom from emotional caregiving because you're not responsible for how people react to your boundaries. I know that that is something that a lot of us deal with. Is why we try to keep the peace because we're afraid of the reaction of the other person, and you have to feel how you're going to fix that. You know, you're responsible for setting them, and if people choose to be upset, angry, hurt because of your limits, that's their work. It's definitely not yours. You can care about people without carrying them. You can love people without losing yourself, and you can protect your peace without apologizing for. Hmm. Question number 5. What boundary do you keep avoiding because you know settle on it would change the dynamic of the relationship? And what does that tell you about the relationship? Hmm. This is the one that's going to make you sit with yourself for some time. And I really truly want you to sit down and be very honest with yourself. There's probably a boundary you've been needing to set for a long time. And you know what it is. You know you need to say it. Write it down somewhere, put it in a jar, come back to it every now and again if you need to, just to kind of remind yourself. You know, you need to say it, but you don't because you know once you do it, the relationship is going to shift. Maybe it's the end. Maybe it'll expose that if you never really are healthy to begin with, maybe it'll reveal that the person doesn't actually respect you and you're not ready to face that. Maybe it's telling your partner you're not okay with how they speak to you. Maybe it's telling your parent they can't just show up unannounced or make decisions about your life. Maybe it's telling your friend you're not available, to be their therapist anymore. Maybe it's telling your boss you're not working off the clocks anymore. Telling a family member it just have comment on your body, your choices, your life. Whatever it is, that setting this boundary is going to cause a reaction. And you're avoiding it because you'd rather keep the peace, even if that peace is fake, even if you're suffering in silence, even if the relationship is already broken, but you just pretending it's not. But here's what the avoidance is telling you. The relationship as it currently is, or as it currently exists, requires you to not have that boundary. If you require you to accept disrespect, inconvenience, emotional labor, or whatever else that boundary will protect you from, it requires you to stay silent and very small and very, very uncomfortable. And if your relationship can't survive you protecting yourself, then I know you know what the answer is. That it was never a healthy relationship to begin with. So this question is pushing you to face what you've been avoiding. Your boundaries what boundaries have you been too scared to set? And what does your fear of setting it reveals about the relationship? Because sometimes these boundaries you're most afraid of set is the one you most need to. And sometimes in the relationship, we're afraid to lose are the ones we need to let go of, or at least transform into something more honest, even if it's uncomfortable. All right, guys. Those are the 5 self-check questions for boundaries and saying no. Now, I know some of you or some of these are going to feel it's going to hit hard. I know some of you are sitting in here and thinking, okay, LaKenya, I hear you, but I don't even know where to start. I got you, and it's okay. Check it out. You don't have to start every boundary today. You don't have to overhaul your whole life in a week. But you do need to start being honest with yourself about what's costing you your peace. These self-check questions, they're not just about boundaries, they're about self-worth. Because that's how you protect yourself. The limits you set and things you're willing to tolerate, or not tolerate. That's all reflects on how much you value yourself. But if you don't value yourself enough to have boundaries, you're going to keep attracting people who don't value you either. People can read weakness. Believe it or not, you can probably read weakness from a person too. You need to ask yourself these questions not once but regularly. And I've been saying that for a while. Boundaries aren't like I said, shot deal, a one-time thing. They're ongoing. You're going to have to keep choosing yourself, protecting your peace, saying no, even if it's uncomfortable. I'm going to keep repeating that, even when people don't like it. That's what the self-check method is all about. It's about pausing, asking yourself those hard questions that you don't want to ask. Being real about those answers you don't want to figure out. And then doing something about it. Like, here's what I want you to do. As one thing is to pick one question that really hits you and sit with it this week. Journal it, think about what needs to change. Maybe start one small boundary and see what happens. But you gotta do the work. Drop a comment, let me know what question makes you pause. Which boundary have you been avoiding? I'm reading all these questions and all these responses, and I want to hear from you. And if this episode helped you, share it with someone who needs permission to stop protecting their peace too. We're building a community here, an empowerment clique of people who are willing to do the work. Next week, I'm coming back with 5 more questions on a different topic. So make sure you subscribe to the Empowerment Click with Kenya so you don't miss it. It's amazing being able to do these questions because I am definitely checking myself too, you know? Remember, knowing yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. This is a vibe check. Peace.